top stock picks coming at you. Here's what you should do when you hear that. Crunch some numbers so you can see exactly what I'm talking about and why it is that I feel this way. This is Forbes top 12 stocks for 2018. So the green numbers are winners and the red numbers are losers. And basically what happened in 2018 was they made these estimates of what would do well and what wouldn't. At the end of the day, there was a 10% loss in these analysts' estimates of what would do well. The stock market, the S&P 500, on the other hand, was only down about 0.5% for the year. So you have these professional money managers telling you that these 12 stocks are going to do better than the rest of the stocks, or they're just positioned to do really well. And in reality, the S&P 500 did better than they did because they were only down 0.5%, whereas their portfolio was down 10%. So keep that in mind when you are taking advice from other people, because everybody wants to say they have the next hot stock tip, and it's very rarely the case that they do. What I wanted to do was compare that with another YouTuber's top stock picks. So I went and found somebody that had 182,000 views on their YouTube channel, and they recommended 5 stocks for 2018. Those were Apple, Facebook, Wynn, United Natural Foods, and Google. So I ran the numbers, and those 5 stocks this year, or in 2018, were down 23%. The stock market as a whole was down 0.5%. So that's a huge loss. If those people took that person's advice into account and just invested in those 5 stocks, they'd be down 23%. So again, just be really careful when you're listening to stock advice on what you do, because you could really lose a lot of money. And what I want you to focus on instead is getting back to the basics. Don't try to outperform any certain market or try to think that you found the next winner. Like, it's really, really impossible to find the next Amazon or the next Apple. Like, the best that we can do is to consistently invest our money over time throughout our lives and see those slow, steady Eddie gains. Like, they're not exciting, but you're not going to lose your entire nest egg over investing like that, versus like trying to chase the best next hot stock tip. It could really lose you some money. So keep that in mind. And another thing I wanted to point out when I'm pointing out these 2 people, another YouTuber and a Forbes article, this is a year where 2018 was not a great year for the stock market. So I went back to 2017 and I checked the same YouTubers' stock picks, and they were up 23%. So to give them credit, they did make good guesses, but 2017, the stock market was up 15%. So they were up a little bit more than the market, but they were down significantly more than the market when the market was down. And that's where that high risk, high reward thing comes in. If you're chasing high returns, if the market doesn't do well, you're gonna have a large downside, and it could really jeopardize your overall investment portfolio. One other thing that I compared this to was a diversified aggressive portfolio. So since we were looking at stocks, that's why I used an aggressive portfolio. It basically had large cap stocks, large value, small and mid, international, and cash. That portfolio this year was down 4.5%. So market was down 0.5%. The diversified aggressive portfolio was down 4.5%. And then the Forbes people were down 10%, and the YouTuber was down 20%. I'm not going to tell you exactly what to invest in, because I want to get you thinking bigger picture and focusing on what really matters. Does it really matter if you outperform the S&P 500 or you do better than your neighbor does? Like, that doesn't really matter, because if you do better than them one year, you're probably going to do worse than them the next year. It is incredibly difficult to pick stocks and pick winning stocks consistently over time. The statistic, I believe, is only 5% of money managers, people that are living and breathing this stuff, only 5% outperform their indexes. So you have a 95% chance that your stocks aren't going to do better than the S&P 500. They may one year, they may another year, but over the long run, we just can't pick and know which one's going to do well and which one's going to do poorly. So come back to the basics, focus on what's important, and get a portfolio that is in line with your goals for the long run. And my next video is going to show you how to build this portfolio so that you can put together something that's really meaningful, secure, and lasts you a long time without all the ups and downs of stomach turning, if that's not your thing. When you are putting together a portfolio, I would recommend putting 80% into something that you can count on for the long term, that you don't have to worry about on the day-to-day or even year to year. So that could be a diversified portfolio that I'll show you how to build in my next video. And the other 20%, use that for some stocks that you'd like to buy, because I do find it really interesting to invest in stocks, even though it's somewhat terrifying because of these numbers, right? Like nobody really knows. But what I do know is I spend money on Amazon and Netflix and Apple products and Google. I use Google every day. I use Facebook every day. So I like the idea of being invested in stocks that I personally use every day, because it just feels like as I'm spending my money, I get a tiny little baby return, and it just is nice. And it's also interesting to me to follow what the stock is doing and that sort of thing. So that extra 20%, if it does do really well, then great, I have added value to my portfolio. But if it doesn't, then I haven't lost everything, and I don't have to go back to work if I'm in retirement. And that's the whole key point, is to invest your money to support you later. And there's no quick fixes or shortcuts to get you large returns. It's like anything in life. If it's too good to be true, it probably is. And real results come over time with anything, whether it's weight loss, education, fitness, any goal that we try to achieve. Little baby steps pave the way. Just to give you a little insight into what stocks I do like, because this video is titled Best Stocks for 2019. Okay, the Facebook, Amazon, Google, Apple, and Netflix, all of them right now are 20 to 30% lower than they were last year. So if you at any point said, damn, I wish I would have bought that stock, now is your chance to get it for 20 to 30% less than it was trading at. Amazon's 23% off, Baba is 26% off, Facebook is 38% off, Netflix is 38% off, and Google is 18% off. All of these stocks are much lower than their peaks that they've reached in this last year. So if you did want to get in on one of those, I would say now is a great time to do it, because if it continues to drop, at least you're starting at a point that's 20% lower than it's been at its all-time high. So that's a good place to start off. And if it goes up, which we all use these products every day, so most likely it will, then you'll be sitting pretty. And those are my those are my top stock picks. If you saw something that you liked earlier in the year, you can find it now at a much cheaper price. So do that. I did a video earlier on how to buy your first stock as a beginner. So take a look at that. I show you how to research individual stocks, looking at price targets, highs, lows, and what to look for and what websites to use. Just check out that video and it'll just walk you through the process. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe if you like this channel and give me a thumbs up. Oh, and then another thing I wanted to say. This is the vlog.